Welcome back, everyone, and we are in our second episode of our current featured instructor, which is Ashley. By the way, I'm calling her an instructor. She's not necessarily an instructor with Global Training Center yet, but by the time that you're listening to this, maybe she will be. We're talking to her so she can join our team as an instructor. But either way, she still does instruction. She shows up and she teaches, and even if it's not a formal training, but she does that. Thank you, Ashley, for joining us here again.
Yes, thanks for having me again. I love being here.
Great. Oh, and by the way, if anybody's noticed, I know this is week two and we're still wearing the same clothes. I've said this before, and sorry about being corny about it.
Maybe we
Doing
should
that,
do wardrobe changes.
yeah, I know doing any dad jokes here or anything, but we didn't just show up with the same clothes every week. So, but anyway, so what do we have this week, Ashley? What are you going to talk about today?
CTPAT. So, CTPAT programs that oftentimes just sit on the shelf, maybe, but don't get actioned or, don't get reviewed, but when you're in your review period. So, I thought that may be an interesting topic for today.
That's great. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, to some people's defense, it's working so well that they just, set it, forget it type thing. Of course, not literally forget it, but set it. They put together really good security programs, really good screenings, like with the receptionist or security guard. They know it down. They know that they need to do this. So of course, they may not be reviewing it until, like you said, on an annual basis or whenever they need,
Yeah.
whenever that time comes up. But I know you were telling me the reason you wanted to bring this up was because of recent actions taken here by our current administration.
Yes. So, in a recent executive order, CTPAT has become more relevant again. I've always been a proponent of CTPAT and telling clients they should definitely get involved with the program. But now, even more so, it's going to become important. The executive order says, particularly about foreign importers of record, and talking about CTPAT and the broker, or, it has to be CTPAT too, important for brokers to be CTPAT, just important overall for everyone to really maybe not revamp their program, but take a good look and make sure that what you have written in that manual is really what you're doing. And maybe not just you, bringing it down to a warehouse level. I have been in some operations where warehouses haven't seen the manual, right? We need to make sure that these actions are trickling down, right? This isn't just something we're looking at once a year and saying, okay, we looked at it and we're going to initial that we've done it. Customs is definitely going to ask for that audit trail.
No, no, of course. And in this day and age of enforcement, because that's what we've been hearing a lot, right? Enforcement, enforcement, enforcement.
Enforcement, yes.
But again, and I hate to say it this way, and I don't mean to sound like I'm defending one side or the other, but honestly, I mean that's what CBP is for, to enforce, right? And the
Mission
fact that
statement.
yeah, and the fact that they're doing it or that we're hearing about it a lot more now doesn't necessarily mean that it's something new. It just means that now they either a have the resources to do it or have a mandate to do it. When they're not just creating new ideas here and saying, "Oh, now I'm going to
Right.
enforce this that you didn't never knew about," because you did, And so with CTPAT, it's been there since obviously since 9/11, shortly after 9/11, anyway, and it has been a program. We do teach several courses on that. In fact, we have several resources that help folks do the part of CTPAT that says everybody must get training. We
Yeah.
have a really good way of doing that. We have clients with like 9,000 people on their roster that are taking these trainings. But
Right.
I mean, they're just doing what they need to do, like we said earlier. But again, let's talk a little bit about that then, Ashley, on creating that CTPAT. What do you feel is that folks should be or maybe doing, or that you wanted to tell us about, like maybe strengthening their program?
Yes, strengthening the program, just creating one to begin with, right? And then strengthening it and keeping up with it, not just making it that review, making sure everybody understands the reason why. I think that's a big deal. Sometimes you may get a little, reluctance because it is a little bit of extra work, right? But when you explain the why, sometimes people won't be so hesitant. I had a client recently I worked with, develop their manuals, develop their programs, and trained some of their personnel as well. And you could see the reluctance on day one. And then by day three, it was okay, I get it. I understand why this is important now and why this would be beneficial down the line. Right. It took just us explaining it to them that it's not just this operation, it really controls this part of the operation too. It's not just this warehouse. It's if we have an exam, you know, maybe customs will conditionally release our other containers that aren't on exam if we're CTPAT tier 3, right? It's just kind of explaining how it's all related. And I feel I just harp on this so much that supply chain and trade compliance and, finance, procurement, we're all related. So right now we're just getting a front row seat to seeing everyone figuring that out, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. And as we said earlier about enforcement, because of now that there's enforcement now, I have seen companies also that are doing their own
But
CTPAT. Yeah, and I've seen some that are rock solid programs. I mean, like, have been completely, like, just amazing. They show pictures of things that they go as far as saying as putting up signs. This is really cool. A Mexican facility. They've been CTPAT for, I mean, a bazillion years, but anyway, they're so smart what they did. They're in the desert, you know, climate like we are here in El Paso. And of course, there's a bunch of, like critters and everything running around,
yeah,
but they have this perimeter of fencing. Along the perimeter of the fencing, they put these signs that say, beware of snakes and like coyotes or something. Like
yeah.
although they've never really seen them and they're really not that much of a threat, they put them on there to avoid people from having to jump the fence or, do
Mhm.
get
That's smart.
around,
That's
get around
smart.
different things. Yeah, so there's different ways of
Yep.
enforcing your because
That
I
is so funny though, just I don't know. There are different ways of enforcing it and also just making sure that people are aware of it.
Mhm,
Like I said earlier, you can have this really robust program, but unless you're, teaching it or enforcing it, and I know right now in trade compliance, especially, we have so much going on that it's probably really hard to keep up with, things that may fall to the wayside a little, but you can't let that happen. So,
yeah, you're kind of thinking, the last thing I need to do is go explain to that security guard or the janitor why they can't leave the back door propped open when they go out for a smoke, right? I
yes,
mean, you're like
right.
thinking, why.
Or, why every single person's ID, no matter if they're in a group, needs to be checked, or, just things that may seem simple or mundane, right? But that
Right.
one person could be, an auditor or could be a bad guy or anything, like
Yeah,
so
that's exactly right. So cool. So yeah, I have seen, like I said, companies that have really good programs, and others that are trying to get there, and even wondering, "Oh, why should I even bother and all this." And we there is, I guess, a few benefits, right? I mean, you do get front of the
yes,
line privileges when you get inspection coming into the United States. I know there's other few benefits that you get that being under CTPAT that should be, on your checklist as to
worth
it's
it, yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, it is, and customs just sees it as exactly what it is, a partnership, right? A partnership against terrorism. It's why the whole thing was started. And you can also go as far as saying, for example, if you have LCL cargo, you can say, hey, I only want to be consolidated with other CTPAT,
Mhm.
importers. That way, maybe your exam risk would go down. Or if you did get an exam, things would flow a little faster. It's hard to say because every port is different. And I can just say, in my experience, it's much better if you're going to customs with a case saying, hey, this person is CTPAT than if they're not. And now,
Exactly.
especially with the executive order that just came out, it's going to be even more important. It's so important. And the whole goal really isn't, passing the validation one time, it's keeping up with it, right?
Mhm.
And it's building the culture of security. That's really what the whole program is about.
Right. Then lastly, I guess I could just bring this one last thing up is that it is built into CTPAT, although they don't necessarily ask you to follow a specific protocol, but the cybersecurity threats that people have. I mean, not only is it going to help you with your supply chain security, it's also going to help you for your company yourself. I mean, to actually take a look at like how
Yes.
you fight cybersecurity. We have a
Yeah.
really good case study actually that we have as part of our CTPAT program, where it's an actual case. You know, it's something real that happened
Yeah.
between some shippers and importers and all that. And it's a very good way of like recognizing how you could be pretty vulnerable to be like for any phishing, for any like any ransom, you know, and this going through
The
this
things you
review.
don't think are gonna happen to you till they do, right?
Right. Right, right,
Yeah.
right. And it does help like build that a wall, you know, a IT wall, let's call it, you know, that is going to hopefully prevent any of that. And you know, losing your products or anything is one thing, but someone getting into your company, into your servers, and that can be disastrous.
Yes, it certainly can. And while you're already, beefing up or taking a look at one part of your security profile, go ahead and do the rest.
Exactly.
Honestly, make a plan.
Right.
That's what I tend to tell everybody because I understand that the CTPAT manual and the whole process, it can be daunting, but just break it up. And then that way, you're making sure that you're adding everything. You're making sure that you're not missing anything. And I promise in the end that it's going to be worth it.
Right. Right. And they make it, I'm not gonna say they make it easy because it's really
Yeah.
please nobody even think that you're gonna be done with this setting up your program in a week or a month. You know, it will take time, but they make it easy in the sense that they break it up
Resources.
into 12 nice categories and then say, okay, here's this category, you know, take care of that or give it to HR because that's their responsibility. Here's this
Yes.
other category, give it to IT, that's their responsibility anyway, you know, and give this to, you know, like the warehouse people because that's their deal, right? You know, and you break it up into 12 parts
Yes.
and you're gonna end up, I'm not gonna saying again that it's easy. I mean, well, I shouldn't say it's not hard. It's not, it is easy, but it's a lot of work, you know, let's
It
just
is.
do that. Yes, yeah.
And you have a lot of stakeholders usually, but I
Right.
think that that kind of helps a little bit, right? Because then your first step is gathering your information and you know who to
Mhm.
get it from. So
Right. And everybody
honestly,
will then be invested in this, you know what I mean?
right.
Now your HR is like, "Oh, heck yeah, we're gonna do this." You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
people are more invested in it and make it more successful. But anyway,
Selling it sometimes that might be hard, but if you can get them to understand the why, it'll be worth it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So today's takeaway, do you have one for us?
I think takeaway definitely, I've probably already said it, but the goal really isn't just to get this established and set it and forget it, right? The goal is this is a fluid program that needs to be revamped, revisited, and making sure that it's trickling down, right? Not just one person knows about it. And the benefits, I can't really think of any cons. So definitely look into CTPAT within the next couple months. Spidey
Awesome.
senses are telling me they may be important.
Exactly. Thank you, Ashley. Thanks again,
Thank
and
you. Thank you for
we'll
having me again.
yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you.